Hello, and welcome to my Series 8 review, which is the latest I've actually left recording one of these videos because every other video you've seen this past month has been pre-recorded at some point last month, except for this. I am literally recording this on the 3rd of September, which is when I've actually finished it. So let's dive in because a lot of episodes for Series 8 I haven't returned to since it aired. And a lot of people don't like this season. There is a lot of bad episodes, but I still think it's not that bad. There's a lot of episodes that I did not like on first viewing, and on this second viewing, I actually did like. But I'm going to actually rapid fire through this. Yes, hopefully this won't be a half-hour video because my phone's at 11%, and I'm tired, so I want to crawl into bed and sleep. So, starting off with Deep Breath, the first episode to, well, technically, uh, first full episode to feature Capaldi, because he appeared in the 50th anniversary and he appeared obviously at the end of Matt Smith's final, and it's an okay episode. It's essentially a spiritual successor to The Girl in the Fireplace. We have these robots that are harvesting human organs. And we also get the first hint of the overarching plot for this season, and that is looking for the promised land. And yeah, it's as a first episode for Capaldi, it's okay. He definitely has stronger episodes after this, but yeah, also Clara. I know I've said that I don't like her an awful lot, but from rewatching this season, she has been really, really insufferable. Now, granted, in Dark Water, it's understandable, but in this, no. Sorry. If there was a jump cut there, I was yawning. Anyway, yeah. So, Deep Breath was okay. The next one is Into the Dalek. Now, this is one that I've again flip flop on because I have actually returned to this one quite a few times. And as an idea out of a premise, actually going inside the Dalek casing is a good premise. But this is where we see more of Capaldi's character for this season, and that is he is okay with sacrificing people and letting them die, because that happened quite a bit in this episode. They went in with, I think it was two or three others, um, and they both died. Capaldi let them die. Hell, he even threw something at one to swallow it and say, "Look, if you swallow this, this is you will survive," only for them to then die. So it's an alright episode. Like I said, I flip flop on it, but it is showing Capaldi's character in this, of, well, just this season, because they toned him back. Hopefully I'll get around to that with this in this video about that. But yeah, it's basically him just not giving a crap. And he even states it in this episode, when he finally brings Clara. He's like, "Oh, this is and then she says carer, and he's like, "Oh yeah, she's my carer. She cares, so I don't have to." So it's that characterization of he doesn't care. He's willing to let people die that we see a number of times throughout this season. So yeah, the next episode, um, Robots of Sherwood, is a shit episode. Uh it's a Mark Gatiss episode, or at least I think it's a Mark Gatiss episode, going off of memory here, but it's shit. Making Robin Hood this real actual person, and as I was watching it, I remember thinking, it was getting to the bit where the doctor thinks that uh, the sheriff of Nottingham and Robin Hood is a robot, that they just don't know it. I think that would have bode better for the episode if it turned out that he was a robot and he had to deal with that mortality that comes along with it. Obviously he's going to obviously he survives the episode and that, but it would have been interesting as a character journey for this robot Robin Hood to realize his mortality, that he is just a living legend, that he isn't a real person, that he is a robot. For him to then decide, you know what, I may just be this legend, but let me live up to that legend and do what the real Robin Hood does in the story. And again, it was also teased that the Promised Land in this one, these people were looking for the Promised Land. Now, the ending to this episode um, got changed. Um, Originally, how it was going to happen was the Sheriff of Nottingham was going to be a robot. I'm pretty sure he still is, regardless of this ending. But he was actually going to be decapitated. And they had to change that last minute because a couple of weeks prior to this episode airing, or whilst they were filming, I can't remember which, there was a few ISIS beheadings of UK citizens. So to kind of not do that and not have that shown, being that news story being so fresh in people's memories, they altered the ending. Um, and we'll get to some altered endings, because the annoying thing about this Blu-ray is it doesn't include deleted scenes. So I would have loved to seen I have seen obviously the original endings. That I think it either got leaked not long after Robots of Sherwood aired, or uh or what. But I do remember seeing it either on YouTube or some website after the episode aired. Um, so yeah, the next episode is Listen. Now this is an episode that a lot of people like, and it's a first time watch since it originally aired, and I don't like it. I really don't. It's an okay episode, you know. Um, there's better episodes in this season that trump Listen. And I get it, a lot of people do like this episode, but to me, it's just boring. Um, there's no real substance to the episode. It doesn't move the plot anywhere, or the overarching storyline for Doctor Who. Yes, it does introduce Orson Pink, which a lot of people, myself included, when this episode aired, thought that was, Danny Pink and Clara's descendant, you know. Which that's someone who I haven't talked about in this season, is the introduction to Danny Pink, who's not a companion. But I will get to him shortly. So the next episode after Listen is another episode that a lot of fans really, really like, and after two watches, I don't like it. I still don't like it, and that is Time Heist. Yes, it's to me, Time Heist just, it tries so hard to pay homage to all of these different heist movies and all these different references to the likes of Tarantino and all of them, and it sucks. It just sucks. I'm sorry. I just don't like it. I don't like the characters. I don't like the Doctor. I don't like in this. I don't like um, the Teller. Don't get me wrong. The Teller is a pretty cool design. I'm pretty sure that's the Teller's design is largely practical effects, which is good in my opinion. Less less use of CG, more use of practical effects, is okay in my book. But it's still, as someone who doesn't like heist movies, it's obviously not going to appeal to me at all. So that's kind of why I don't like it. So following Time Heist, we get to The Caretaker. So this is where I'm going to talk about now about Danny Pink. Because Danny was introduced in Into the Dalek, um, as a love interest for Clara. Got to give her something else to do. Kind of, give her that bit of conflict. Choosing the lover or choosing the doctor, and that is something that they do play. And this is kind of kicks off in this story in the very beginning. She's constantly going on adventures with the doctor and then immediately going on dates, changing outfits, looking more tan than normal, and so on and so forth. And I like Danny. I definitely do like Danny Pink after this full season rewatch. He's a really good character because he calls the doctor out on his shit. He does it in this episode and he does it in Death in Heaven, where Danny is a former soldier who fought probably in like one of the Iraqi wars, and you know he can instantly tell, having served in the military, just what the doctor's about. And it's very very evident in, like I said, in this episode and in Death in Heaven. And I love the fact that he can call, as a soldier, himself, he gets to call the doctor out, and the doctor can't really do much because he knows he's right. And yeah, overall though, Caretaker is a decent enough episode. I do like it, but again, there's a few better episodes in this season, and there's a lot better episodes in Capaldi's tenure than this. But it starts off. It at least allows Danny to now know of the Doctor, and there's that kind of funny, not funny, but kind of not funny bit where the Doctor mistakes another guy to be Clara's love interest because he's wearing a bow tie, referencing the 11th Doctor. Um, but yeah, other than that, the caretaker is just okay. Courtney Woods, though, is a terrible character, and we're going to have to get to her because the next episode is Kill the Moon, a very controversial episode, and a lot of fans really don't like this episode. I don't like this episode. It's a first time rewatch, like the caretaker, and like a lot of episodes this season. That it's a first time rewatch since it originally aired, and to me, Kill the Moon, shit episode. In my entire rewatch of Doctor Who this year, there have been no episodes that I have wanted to switch off whatsoever until I got to Kill the Moon. And it's not the only one. There was a few episodes that I was like, prior to this, I was like, I really don't want to watch this. I was half tempted to give it a skip, but I didn't. I sat through it. It sucked, and again shows that this version of Peter Capaldi's Doctor is a massive dick. Because he basically forces Clara and Courtney and this other astronaut to essentially either blow up the moon and kill the living creature that's in it. Because by the way, the moon's a fucking egg. Or to let it hatch and see what happens. And in the end, they end up, Courtney and Clara stop the nukes, and the egg hatches and lays another moon. And this is where Clara has a massive, and rightfully so, tiff at the Doctor and says she's done traveling with him. Before I get to that, again, I'm jumping all over the place here. Courtney Woods. I really don't like her. She was only in 4 episodes, and the nothing against the actress, but it's clear why she only has 7 IMDb credits to her name because of just how annoying Courtney is. And I'm not the only one. Like, again, I don't like bashing child actors, but when it's warranted, it's warranted. Just like the last season with those two that Clara was the nanny to, and Courtney in this one is just really, really annoying. But again, I try not to bash child actors because, you know, they're children and that, but still, when it's warranted, it's warranted. So anyway, yes, so this also with Clara saying that she's done traveling with the doctor, this is what I hate about season 8. Not so much because of the season in general, but because of Stephen Moffat. So let me explain. Prior or even during this season being aired, it was announced or rumored that this was going to be Clara's last season, Jenna Coleman's last season, and that she was going to step away from the show. You know, she's had enough. And, you know, we get that in this, and then the next episode, The Mummy on the Orient Express, is supposed to be their farewell. But obviously she stayed on for until the end of the season. And then at the end of the season, it sets up her departure. But because Stephen Moffat can't let alone, he convinced her to. I think it was she was supposed to stay until to kill the moon, and then she was going to leave. And then Moffat convinced her to finish out the season, which she ended up agreeing to. And then she was going to finish the season and not be in the Christmas special. And then Stephen Moffat convinced her to do the Christmas special. And then once they were filming the Christmas special, Moffat then convinced her to do another season. Now, that's just what I heard when this season was coming out, as well as the Christmas special. I don't know if that's 100% the facts or if that's just rumors and speculation. But that's what I've heard, and that's what I always remember about season 8 is that rumor. So, yeah, speaking of Mummy on the Orient Express, it finally pays off to the tease at the end of season 5. You know, and it's a good episode. It's a really good episode. It's my first, again, another first time rewatch since the episode came out, and I really enjoyed it. You know, there's not really much more to say that hasn't already been said. Really, really good episode. One of Capaldi's best this season, and probably his best actually. This next episode, Flatline. This episode is loved by a lot of fans. Not me. This is my second time rewatching it. The first time I absolutely hated it. This time I don't mind it, but I still don't like it. I don't know. It's just to me, it's Clara. It's just Clara. Again, no hate towards Jenna Coleman. She's a fantastic actress, but this is where I know I'm at my peak of Clara, and I really can't wait to rewatch season 9 so I can rewatch her death and replay it over and over and over again. Again, nothing against Jenna Coleman. I just really don't like Clara. And there's a lot of people that don't like Clara. But I have a fiery burning hatred for her character. She is just the absolute worst. Should have left after Series 7, or at least the 50th anniversary, or hell, even Matt Smith's final episode. But again, you know, she was key responsible for a lot of things that happened in between then. But still, should have either left at the end of Matt Smith's run, or at the very least should not have come back for the Christmas special. Um, but yeah, don't mind the episode. It's just Clara that I absolutely hate. Um, Speaking of which, the next episode is the in the Forest of the Night. This is another critically panned episode of Doctor Who, and it's one I actually missed on first viewing. Yes, for some odd reason I can't remember what it was, but I just missed the episode on first viewing, and it took a while to watch it. And then when I finally did watch it, it was shit. And then when I rewatched it, it's shit. It's still shit. I'm not going to talk more about it. It's just shit. So now we get to the two-parter, and there's been someone that I've been very much omitting, and that is Michelle Gomez as Missy, who she fully gets properly introduced in Dark Water and Death in Heaven. And my god, is she the best. I'll hold my hands up and say she's even better than John Sims, because at least she doesn't try to be him. She doesn't. Her interpretation of Missy doesn't try to be like John Sims' master, like Sacha Dhawan's master was when he was revealed in series 12 and again in series 13 and The Power of the Doctor. Sacha just his master tried really hard to be John Sims, whereas with Michelle Gomez, done a complete done her own thing, and that's what I loved, and that's what I want every iteration of the Master to be, is their own take on it, because that's how it was in classic Doctor Who. It was all of them doing their own version of this character, and that's what John Sims done. You know, he played batshit insane. Missy, Michelle Gomez, played batshit insane, but also very calculated. You know, and then Sacha Dhawan is literally just copy paste John Sims. But anyway, enough of that rambling. Death in Heaven and Dark Water, I know I've got those two mixed up. Really good. Absolutely loved it. I loved Danny Pink's farewell, essentially, you know, because he dies in the beginning of the episode. That leaves Clara to, you know, essentially try to get the Doctor to break time in order to bring him back, and, you know, goes to destroy TARDIS keys, because the only thing that can destroy TARDIS keys is lava, apparently. And that's really understandable. She's, even before she enters the TARDIS, I'm just putting this back onto the shelf. Um, she doesn't process his death. She acts as if nothing's wrong until the Doctor shows up, and then she tries to convince him to break time to get Danny back, which is understandable, very understandable. Uh, I I don't blame her for that, but there are some issues that I have obviously with this episode, and that's the Nether Sphere. And not so much the Nether Sphere, but what it ends up doing, you know, farming the souls of the dead, putting them into this so-called afterlife, and in order for them to erase their emotions to be upgraded into Cybermen. And again, you know, I love these new Nightmare in Silver designs, but they really didn't do much. You know, it's supposed to be a Cyberman episode, but it's really a Master episode. But anyway, yeah. So why do I have a problem with the Nethersphere? The issue I have with it is because of what Torchwood set up. Now Torchwood is a spin-off, yes, but it's a canon spin-off. And in Torchwood, it's confirmed numerous times that when a person dies, there's no heaven, there's no hell, there's just darkness. And then that gets changed with this, you know, with people dying, they go to the Nether Sphere. Granted, the Nether Sphere goes away, so I guess everyone does go back to darkness. But that means that because of Missy doing that, you know, traveling back in time, setting up the Nether Sphere, there's a high chance that 3 people from the Torchwood team, technically 4 people from the Torchwood team, technically everyone that's died in Torchwood is there, including Susie, you know, keep killing Susie, uh, Yanto, everyone's favorite, Owen, Toshiko. Jack's grandson. Technically, yes. Jack's grandson would be there. He did kill him. This takes place obviously after Children of Earth and Miracle Day. Um, but other than that, I really liked it. Now, let's get on to Capaldi and the characterization, and something that whilst watching it, I remember thinking. I remember an awful lot about this, and that about season 8 and season 9, and that is how much Capaldi was, not just Capaldi, but Matt Smith, David Tennant, Matt Smith, and Capaldi were compared to Tom Baker, Peter Davison, and Colin Baker. Specifically, Colin Baker being compared, Peter Capaldi being compared to Colin Baker, and how much of a tone shift it was. It was comparing first season Colin Baker to season 8 uh, Capaldi, and then how in season 9 is a completely different tonal shift. He's a lot. Capaldi's a lot more darker and willing to sacrifice people and not save them. But then in season 9, that's a complete 180 on that. But yeah, overall, season 8 is just okay. Not the best, not the worst, just okay. There's definitely a lot of the episodes in this season that I'm not going to return to, at all. But yeah, that's going to wrap up this video. I'm really surprised that my phone actually hasn't died after nearly 27 minutes of recording. Because like I said, it was at 11%. So I'd say by the time I finish this, it could be at like 3%. Anyway, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I can't remember what's next. The copy's right there, and I'm too lazy to go get it. I'm going to go sleep. So thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And I will see you next month for another of my Doctor Who season reviews, as we're getting actually close to the end. There's only